Ethan and Marcus both landed tech jobs paying $250,000 a year. Ethan immediately upgraded his reality. He leased a $110,000 Porsche, rented a luxury high-rise apartment, and blindly threw his bonuses into hyper-risky altcoins to 10x his net worth. He looked untouchable on social media. Marcus stayed in a modest duplex, drove a 6-year-old Toyota, and ruthlessly diverted his income into 5 specific, unglamorous financial pillars. Ethan mocked Marcus for living like a peasant. Then, the tech bubble violently burst. Mass layoffs swept the industry. Within 45 days, Ethan could not cover his lease, his portfolio evaporated, and the bank repossessed the car. Marcus lost his job on the exact same day, but he did not panic. He bought up liquidated assets at a massive discount and retired at 32. Ethan played the game of looking wealthy. Marcus played the game of becoming untouchable using 5 obscure money rules, a framework the financial elite use to guarantee permanent freedom. The immediate differentiator between the financially enslaved and the financially free is the total abandonment of traditional budgeting. Society teaches the middle class to track expenses, save what is left over, and hope for a comfortable retirement at age 65. This is a mathematical trap designed to keep workers dependent on wages. The first rule demands asymmetric allocation. Wealth is not built by lowering the grocery bill. Wealth is built by forcibly removing capital from the consumer ecosystem before it can be spent. The strategy dictates that the moment capital enters an account, an aggressive, non-negotiable percentage, often 40 to 50%, is instantly routed into hard assets. This is not saving. Saving fiat currency in a bank account guarantees an erosion of purchasing power through inflation. This is the act of trading melting ice cubes for tangible monoliths. The capital must flow directly into cash-flowing real estate, broad market index funds, or sovereign debt. The individual lives entirely off the remaining scraps. By artificially constraining the available capital for lifestyle, the lifestyle cannot creep upward. The middle class pays their lifestyle first and their future last. The elite pay their empire first and starve their lifestyle until the empire can fund the luxury. The greatest lie sold to the working class is the virtue of the hourly wage. Trading time for money is a terminal disease for wealth creation. There are only 24 hours in a day, capping the absolute maximum earning potential of anyone relying on a salary, regardless of how high that salary might be. The second rule is the absolute severance of time and income. To achieve permanent freedom, an individual must acquire or build equity. Equity scales infinitely. Human labor does not. This rule requires transitioning from a consumer of labor to an owner of systems. A system operates while the individual sleeps, travels, or falls ill. This takes the form of owning a business, holding dividend-yielding stocks, or managing rental properties. The goal is to build a machine where the revenue generated is entirely divorced from the hours worked. A doctor earning $500,000 a year is still fundamentally poor in time. If the doctor stops performing surgeries, the income drops to zero. An investor earning $100,000 a year through automated dividends is infinitely richer, possessing total autonomy over every waking second. Freedom is not measured by the size of the bank account, but by the percentage of income that is entirely uncoupled from physical presence. The middle class views debt as a master. The wealthy view debt as a weapon. Financial freedom requires a total rewiring of how debt is perceived and utilized in the modern economy. Society uses debt to purchase liabilities, depreciating assets like cars, electronics, and oversized personal residences. This consumer debt acts as an anchor, dragging the individual deeper into wage slavery to service the interest payments. The third rule mandates the absolute eradication of all consumer debt, followed by the aggressive acquisition of productive debt. Productive debt is capital borrowed to acquire an asset that pays for the debt itself while simultaneously generating a profit. When an investor borrows $1 million at a 5% interest rate to buy an apartment building that yields 10%, the investor has effectively printed money out of thin air. Furthermore, in an inflationary environment, debt becomes highly advantageous. The loan is taken out in today's valuable dollars, but paid back over decades in tomorrow's devalued dollars. The asset increases in value with inflation, while the debt is inflated away. The 1% use the bank's money to acquire appreciating assets, shifting all the risk to the lender while hoarding the equity for themselves. Amateurs focus entirely on how much money they can make. Professionals focus entirely on how much money they can protect. The fourth rule is the moat building principle, an obsession with asymmetric risk and absolute downside protection. One single catastrophic loss will wipe out a decade of compounding gains. The strategy requires building impenetrable walls around acquired wealth. This means aggressive diversification across different asset classes, geographical locations, and currency jurisdictions. It demands operating through complex legal entities, trusts, and limited liability companies that shield personal assets from frivolous litigation and corporate bankruptcy. This rule also dictates an absolute refusal to gamble. The financial elite do not chase speculative bubbles, meme stocks, or unproven digital tokens promising overnight riches. They seek asymmetric bets, investments where the potential loss is strictly capped, but the potential upside is limitless. By establishing a fortress of legal and financial protection, the individual ensures that even if a business fails or a market crashes, the core wealth remains entirely untouched. Going to zero is a mathematical impossibility when the moat is constructed correctly. The final rule is the ultimate separator between the permanently wealthy and the temporarily rich, the arbitrage of value. Money itself has no inherent worth. It is merely a ledger used to facilitate the exchange of value. The masses trade their most valuable, non-renewable resource, their lifespan, for this worthless ledger. The elite trade their specialized knowledge for a massive influx of that ledger, then immediately convert it into permanent assets. The strategy involves becoming a linchpin, a person who provides solutions to extremely expensive problems. The larger the problem solved, the higher the capital rewarded. A cashier solves a minimum wage problem. A software engineer who builds a system that saves a corporation $50 million solves a massive problem and commands massive equity. The rule dictates a relentless focus on increasing the magnitude of the problems being solved. Once the massive influx of capital is secured, it is ruthlessly pushed back through the previous four rules. The capital is aggressively allocated, divorced from time, amplified by productive debt, and protected by an impenetrable moat. Financial freedom is not a lottery ticket. It is not an accident of birth. It is an engineered mathematical certainty. The individuals trapped in the rat race are playing a game designed by institutions that profit from their continued financial illiteracy. They are encouraged to consume, to borrow for liabilities, and to remain heavily reliant on a single source of wage income. By deploying these 5 rules, the individual steps entirely outside of the conventional economic system. The strategy transforms a fragile, wage-dependent worker into a sovereign financial entity. The transition is brutal, demanding extreme discipline and a total rejection of societal norms regarding status and consumption. But the result is an unbreakable vault. When the next economic winter inevitably arrives, when inflation spikes, markets crash, and the unprepared masses are wiped out, the individual operating under these 5 rules will not just survive, they will conquer.